Morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the LEAP RE kickoff meeting. So I hope everyone had a restful evening yesterday and that you really were thinking about what kinds of questions you might have for today to follow up a bit on the discussions we had, not only with Bernardo, but with our pillar leaders. So I think today we have a very interesting day planned. Shortly to tell you what we're going to talk about today. So we'll have some welcoming words from Taniko, and then we'll hear some recaps from yesterday from the pillar leaders, after which we will talk about the program management and get back to what we missed yesterday, as well as have some question and answer time with Bernardo. Then we will talk about the communication strategy and then have a chance to exchange with the CCSE working group. So as a reminder, CCSE stands for Climate Change and Sustainable Energy. And then we'll conclude the day at around 11:30, 11:45 with a few words from the coordinators. So this is what we have planned. A reminder to interact on the chat. And I think this morning we have a survey that will be launched right now. I assume it's being launched. So please, in the box, let us know in one word how you're doing this morning. Yesterday we had quite good responses. Everyone was feeling good. Amazing. Wow. What a way to start the day. Optimistic, great. Fine. I mean, we could have a little more enthusiasm, guys. Tanika, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling very optimistic, Melissa.
Excellent. I'm feeling excited. As we wait for these answers to come in, I also want to remind you that we are tweeting about this event from the LEAP RE Twitter. So if you haven't already followed the LEAP RE project, please do so. You can find us as LEAP RE EU. So go ahead and follow us on Twitter and retweet if you have a Twitter account. The next part of this icebreaker session is to please mark how you felt about the kickoff meeting day 1 out of stars. So tell us how many stars you think yesterday was. All right, we're off to a good start, 4.5. I'll submit my own stars. So looking pretty good, 4 out of 5, 3.9 out of 5 stars. For an online meeting, I say that's not that bad. I'm also enjoying some of these responses from how we were doing yesterday or this morning. Some people are cold. Some people are caffeinated. It's always a great start. Okay, I think that that's the icebreaker we have for today. At least I feel like I've broken some ice. I hope you do too. And in all, I think that we can say that we're starting the day out well. Yesterday went pretty well, 3.9 out of 5 stars. So let's see if we can beat that today. And to start us in that endeavor is Taniko from the DSI. So Taniko Nchongwana will give us opening words and get us started for the day. Taniko, go ahead.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks for that. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tiniko Nchongwana, and I'm part of the Department of Science and Innovation, as Melissa has already pointed out. Together with the LGI, we are the co-coordinators of the LEAPRE project. And I would like to extend a warm welcome to those of you who are joining us for the first time this morning, and also welcome back to everyone that was part of the session which took place yesterday. So I've been given the task of also providing a brief recap of the discussions which took place yesterday, and do so by offering maybe the preface that one of the primary objectives of the LEAPRE project is to provide the building blocks for a long-term partnership between Africa and Europe focused on identifying scientific and innovation solutions to the energy deficit in accordance with the precepts of sustainability as identified in Agenda 2030. And in highlighting some of the key points which emerged from the discussions yesterday, it is important to note that LEAPRE stands as a unique policy and pragmatic response, as noted by some of our speakers yesterday, to a mutually held global challenge, thus attesting to the relevance of science diplomacy in bringing two very important regions of the world, Africa and Europe, together in addressing a common problem. LEAPRE also stands as a possible game changer in the long-standing Africa-EU research and innovation partnership, and as a platform which could take the Europe-Africa relationship to the next level by not only supporting basic and applied research in renewable energy, but also in the scaling of renewable energy innovation and solutions for upscale and uptake for market access. We also had yesterday presentations from Pillar 1, 2, and 3 coordinators and providing brief outlines of the main objectives of these pillars, as well as the various work packages that will form part of these pillars. Melissa, I'm really not going to take a long time. I think I'll keep it brief, and I'm aware that the pillar coordinators will also provide a brief recap on some of the main issues which emerged from the sessions that they presented. So I'll leave it at that, and just to extend a welcome to everyone that is part of the meeting this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Taniko. I think that was a great recap of yesterday and a good introduction to what we're going to do today. So as was already presented, we'll now have a recap from the pillar leaders about what was discussed. We're going to start with Pillar 3, so it would be wonderful if Nicolette and could join the stage, and I believe, Taniko, you'll also be joining Nicolette to give an overview of the Pillar 3 discussion. So Nicolette and Taniko, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I only have one slide for this quick recap. Let me know, Melissa, if it works from your side. Reading mode. Is it fine?
We don't see it yet, or I don't see it yet, but it usually takes just a minute to load. There we go. Yep, it's perfect.
Okay, great. So hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here and to have this honor to recap briefly the Pillar 3 that was presented yesterday. So my recap will be quite short because we have several items in the agenda. And as you know, all the presentations are in the document section. So the recap, the Pillar 3 is definitely the non-research part of the LEAPRE program. So we can see it has a CSA-like action because we do not really take care of doing research, but we are really working on the vision of the program. So in this pillar, in addition to the vision, we really want to coordinate the program, to do everything relating to the management of the activities, but also we want to tackle the strategic ambition of the program and really to maximize the outcome of LEAP and set the ground for the future long-term partnership. So in order to do that, we have several work packages, which definitely all contribute to this objective of this pillar. So we have 3 work packages, which are the work package 1, 2, and 3, who are dealing with the management and the coordination of LEAP-RE. Work package 2 and 3 were presented respectively by the RNR and the Ministry of Research in Algeria. And the pillar 3 was presented by Politecnico di Milano and Strathmore University. The pillar 1, which is the whole coordination of the LEAP-RE program, is indeed presented somehow in the program management section. So you will hear today this presentation after those pillar recap. And then for the maximization of the outcome of LEAP-RE and really to have good impact, we have this work package 4. Melissa, who is moderating this session today, is the work package leader together with Kibibi. And we had the chance to hear from them yesterday, and they really presented how we want to maximize our outcome, working with the LEAP-RE community, organizing stakeholder workshops, and doing several actions, several external actions, really to emphasize on our outcomes. And then we also have the work package 4, 5, and 6. Sorry. For the work package 5, we had Eric Tambo and Stefan Hafner, respectively from PAWES and DLR, who really presented the long-term perspective. So work package 5 is quite important in the pillar 3 because it has a lot of connection with the other work packages. Since in this work package, we really think on how we want to reach a long-term perspective, but we also want to analyze the program. So we will take care of also the evaluation of our actions. And then in work package 6, which will not start now, because this work package is in relation to the implementation of the long-term partnership. So it's really also after the 5 years of the program, how can we really have practically a long-term partnership? So in this work package, which is led by LGI and PAWES, so Vincent and Eric Tambo, we are going to think of what kind of governance we could have in order to have a structure which would be sustainable and which will gather again our community from Europe and Africa, implementing several actions for renewable energy in the African continent. So this is it for my quick recap on Pillar 3. Thank you for your attention, and I give back the floor to you. Timiko, if you want to react, or Melissa, I'll leave you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolette.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I was going to say, I think just a few other administrative issues were just concerning the consortium agreement for everyone to ensure that they finalize what needs to be finalized from their institutions so that we can finalize the consortium agreement and get things moving. So it was mostly those kind of administrative issues which also cropped up. after our presentation.
Yeah.
But thank you, Nicolette, for that.
Thank you for this reminder, Nico. And we will have a slide regarding the consortium agreement in the program management also. But thank you.
Thank you, Nicolette and Nico. Something to look forward to a little bit later. So I'll invite you to leave the stage, and I will ask Anne Wambugu and Emanuela Colombo from Strathmore University and Polimi, respectively, to please join the stage so we can get a recap from the Pillar 2 discussion yesterday.
Good morning. Thank you, Melissa, for giving the floor. I don't know if Anne is around, but she informed me that she had quite some deal today. So I will proceed with my very short recap of yesterday, just following what also Nicolette did. I will go very briefly. So where we are, Pillar 2 is indeed one of the two pillars of LEAP-RE in which we will have research and innovation action being implemented by project partners. So what we have seen yesterday, and I want to recap just three main things. The first one is we have revised what is the research and innovation assets of LEAP-RE, which is based on the comprehensive approach that we have discussed, which see aside the attention to the technological development, a number of elements that are related to the methodological approach, the business model, the market analysis, but also energy scenarios and policies. And we have seen some seeds of it into all the presentation of the work package pillar. The second point is the multi-annual roadmaps that has been mentioned many times, and we know the path that has led us to the creation of these multi-annual roadmaps that find a positioning into all the work package. We have quite a number of institutions engaged, around 60, coming from, let's say, half of them are coming from Europe and half of them more or less are coming from Africa. So we engage more than 30 countries. And this is also a big value that we represent here. I want to deeply thank all the colleagues that yesterday made their own presentation, and you find here the list of the work package with their specific name. And please let's join me in clapping, even virtually, our colleague Daniele Fiaschi from University of Florence, Ignatius Maranga from Strathmore University, Yves Giraud from Lorraine University, Manfred Hafner from Fondazione Enrico Mattei Film, Riccardo Mereu and Eric Tambo from Politecnico di Milano and Powers, Ari Apanen from University of Vaasa, Luc Richard from Audit E, and Ahmed Rahid from Université de Picardie. Yesterday, when I was listening to the colleague discussing their work package, I create in my mind this schematic representation that I want to present here. We have three big assets. One is with work package 9, we still are on, the contribution that LEAP-RE can bring to the advancement of the literature and the state of the art is very huge in terms of resource assessment, tackling one very important resource, which is geothermal energy. Then we have, let me say, a bulk number of projects that are somehow all related to electrification from a system perspective, with some difference inside, as you have seen yesterday. And mostly we have 4 of them, 11, 12, 13, and 14, which are mostly focused on off-grid electrification, village level, local level. And then we have also, as we have heard yesterday from Work Package 15, the attention to bridge the link between off-grid and on-grid with, centralized electrification. So I think that there is a big value that our project can bring into the international community, leading with all the problems of rural electrification from off-grid up to the centralized grid. Then we have 2 other projects, which are Work Package 10 and Work Package 16, which are mostly indeed focused on, let me say, access to energy. Also, thanks to the discussion and some of the questions that came out yesterday, we have understood that as far as Work Package 16, we are speaking of a not big device. So we are speaking of, from one side, cooking stoves that might support access to modern energy, and also we are speaking again of electrification providing electricity, but from a smaller scale. So I think these two work packages are focused mostly on access to energy. With this value, I think we LEAP-RE can bring a lot of synergies also beyond what is happening within LEAP-RE, because as many of us, we have participated to the Green Deal call, and whoever will be the winner, this approach to the system and to the supply chain analysis of the energy sector is very much embedded into that call. So as Philippe yesterday mentioned, I think that there will be a lot of opportunity to increase the value, let's say, even beyond LEAP-RE. Yesterday, some alert came out during the discussion with some of the questions made by Bernardo, by Francois, by many other colleagues. And I think that we will have to look at them deeply. And for that reason, I just remember here, and this is my last comment, the relevance of the pillar coordination. This will be a kind of, I want to underline, a peer-to-peer coordination, because we are all scientists, we are all technical people, so there will be a kind of sharing approach to the management of Pillar 2, because our goal will be that of facilitating the implementation of the work packages, but also try to maximize, to create an enabling environment to promote synergy, as we have already seen in the chat yesterday, a discussion between the work package leaders started, in order to give the value to the outputs that each of us will bring into the respective work package. And this will create and will guarantee connection with the PMB, but also with the work package in Pillar 3, which are dedicated to the outcomes and to the more long-term perspective of the LEAP-RE. This is, I think, a summary of what we did yesterday. And if Annie is there, she can obviously complement what I just said.
Nothing from me. I think that's fine.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you, Emanuela, for that very excellent summary of yesterday's discussion, but also highlighting some things that we need to keep in mind for the future, and especially the role that the coordination can play in ensuring the successful implementation of these projects, and that they are aligned internally within the program, but also externally with some of the other actions going on. So thank you for that. I'd ask thank you to leave the stage, and now we'll invite the Pillar 1 co-coordinators. We have Mokhtar Salami and Francois Moisan. Please join us to give us a little recap from yesterday's discussion. Francois?
Yes, hello. Hello, Melissa. I don't know if Mokhtar is on the scene. Okay. Maybe Marie-Laure will join, because I prepared one slide for the wrap-up, and I think Marie-Laure will be able to share. Marie-Laure, Mokhtar, you're there?
Yes. Hello, good morning. I'm there.
Hello.
Hello. I think you already see the slide, right?
Yes. Okay. Okay. So you, Mokhtar, I began, and after you complete.
Yes,
okay.
Do please.
Okay. Thank you. So Marie-Laure, you could make the next slide, the only one. So it's not precisely a wrap-up of the discussion we had yesterday, because we had presentation, but not so far many discussions, but rather looking at all the presentation and the discussion, some question or some thoughts that I gathered after our meeting yesterday. So I will present it briefly. So the first one was related to the coordination between LEAP-RE projects. I think the LEAP-RE projects which will be selected in the call, but it could also concern the Pillar 2 projects, even if these projects are on Pillar 2 are already defined. The link between these projects and the Green Deal call. As far as I understood that the Commission, European Commission, is interested to have some collaboration between both projects in the calls of project of LIPRI and Green Deal. I think there is something that we could do, since we will have the pre-selection process done between the 1st of April and the 15th of June, because it's on the 15th of June that we will publish the result. I don't know when the Green Deal call project selected will be published, but we could imagine to have recommendation in the project leaders selected at the stage of the pre-selection to look at some collaboration between the Green Deal project, if they are published before. So in the full proposition, they could indicate, of course, not precise collaboration, because this should need some discussion, but they could identify within the Green Deal call project selected with which they could have some collaboration in terms of exchange of information, of workshop, or so on. So this is a question rather maybe to Philippe Schild, but we could imagine to have this recommendation to the selected project before the full submission. That was the first point. The second one is about the participation of African partners from countries not participating to the call. And this is rather a worrying issue. We set up this provision to be able to fund these partners in Africa without agency funding participation through the EU top-up. And in the previous discussion we had among the call steering committee with all the agencies, we set up a range, a quite wide range of the amount of the EU top-up which could be dedicated to these partners. We assess a number between 10 and 30%. There was not a real consensus at this stage. It was in the end of 2020 on this amount. But this represents at this stage between 500,000 euros and 1.6 million euros. I understand that in the process of submission, we will have, I think, a lot of projects, including participation from African partners, not from countries not participating to the call. And this could be an issue because if there is a lot of good projects with this partner, we will face a strong constraint about funding these partners. We could look at some subcontracting. It could be an issue also in order to compensate this small amount of funding. But nevertheless, it could be an issue because we will have to take into account this constraint in the pre-selection level. We cannot take a lot of projects and to go to the full submission stage, and after that to say, okay, but we will not be able to fund them. So we will have to decide which will be the more wise solution regarding these projects. Because again, I think we will have a lot of projects, including maybe not for very strong amount of euros, but nevertheless it will be an issue. The third point is the decision to launch or not a second call in 2022. And of course, this decision will be based on what will be the budget available after the first call. Some agencies may have exhausted their budget, but also we should take into account that we may have some new agencies which could join LIPRI. We have contact with other agencies which are not at this stage in LIPRI, and we could imagine that we will have, I know some agencies withdraw because of COVID last year, so there could be a new issue. And also the decision should be taken on the coverage of the Mars topic for the first call. And also the use of EC top-up. Will we exhaust the whole EC top-up in the first call or not? So this will be also a discussion, and I don't know, but I think maybe it should be taken into account since the first result in April and at the pre-selection stage, in order to say, for example, the Mar 2 about recycling may be a poor part of the response. I don't know, but I think it has been done. It was the case in the Pillar 2. Maybe it will be also the case in Pillar 1. So this is an issue maybe we should discuss among agencies after the result of April. The last one, it was the issue that we are facing a new experience in managing a transcontinental call for agencies. European agencies involved has been, I have to say, used to a RANET procedure, but with African agencies, it's a new exercise, I may say, and it will be an asset, I think, for future programs, and it will be important to learn about the first call, of course, in terms of operationality, and I think Bernardo understand what I mean when I say that, but also in terms of strategic for the future of European Commission and CCSE for future potential programs to stress what we have experienced, how it works, and what could be in the future done between European funding agencies and African funding agencies. So this fourth point, where after yesterday, Thursday, what I could bring to the debate. Mokhtar, if you want to complete on some issues.
No, I think you explained things. So all what I say is that really it's very exciting. Only this morning I find that 10 new emails are asking about partnership and etc. It means that probably we'll have good proposal, and it's a good thing. Otherwise, I share with you some thoughts. Let's say some. We'll know later, but we have many consortium which are asking to integrate, to work with African partner without agencies. And I answered many times that you need at least to have one funding agency from Africa. We are providing explanation, and we'll see later what they decide. Thank you.
Thank you, Francois and Mokhtar, for this wrap up of the discussion from yesterday and highlighting some of these important points. I just want to draw your attention also to the comments section. So we have a discussion about how the Green Deal projects are expected to interact with the Pillar 1 projects, but also the whole of the LEAP RE program. So I think we have a good basis for working with them in the future. There are some other comments here about some of the budgetary and other issues. So everyone do follow the conversation happening in the comments as well. So thank you. Ask you to leave the stage, and we are wonderfully ahead of schedule. So to keep us moving in the same direction, I will now ask Nicolette and Refilwe to join me on stage so we can go through the program management issues that we weren't able to get to yesterday, after which we'll have a small question and answer opportunity with Nicolette and Refilwe, but also with Bernardo, who is still here and willing to answer questions. So a reminder to please put your questions into the chat box so we can keep track of those, and we will then address them after the presentation is over. So Nicolette and Refilwe, please go ahead.
Thanks, Melissa. So here we are together with Refilwe to present you the program management. I hope the slides are shared on the screen now, and I will start. Okay, so yesterday we started the presentation which was presented by Vincent. So today, together with Refilwe, we are going to follow this up with 3 additional items. So as you can see in the outline, so we are going to speak about the management procedures and tools, the meeting and administration and finances. So this is what is planned in this presentation. So I will go directly to the management procedure and tools, since the first part was already presented. So here we are. To start with the management procedure and tools, I would like to present you the different program management plans that are foreseen in our program. Those plans are definitely some tools that we will be using for management purposes, but also in order to have the program harmonized in terms of management style. So most of these plans are in. We have already started to work on them, and here they are. So as I was saying, so these plans are the following. So we are going to have a project quality plan, which is quite important since you know that we are a lot of people in this, a lot of organizations in the consortium. So we need to have some quality in terms of management. So we are going also to develop a detailed work plan, a data management plan, and a gender action plan. All of these plans will be shared via a tool that I'm going also to present it to you all, which will be the project intranet, I want to say. So let's start with the first plan, which is the project quality plan. So what is it and how are we going to do that? So the project quality plan is a document that will describe all the procedure that we are going to do that we are going to implement in the program. So as a consortium member, you can see this plan as a sort of internal guidelines in which you will have all the information regarding the information document management, the document publication, and also the quality assurance process that will be implemented throughout the project duration. All of this information will be described in the project quality plan. So how are we going to do that? The PMB will set it up, and we will share it to the consortium via the project internal platform. This document will be submitted to the European Commission, but it may also evolve internally. So the coordinator will be monitoring the document. So a template has been already elaborated by LGI. So we will distribute it to the PMB for validation. So as you have heard, the PMB is the Program Management Board, which has several meetings every 2 months and also monthly when necessary. So we try to be as active as possible. Then we have also the detailed work plan, which is where you will see how our work packages of LIPARI are divided into practical action with a responsible per action and a specific timeline. All the work package leaders are already aware of that, so since this is what is taking us a lot of effort at the moment, because everybody is already started to work on that. We have launched a template which was validated by the PMB. We distributed to each work package leader, and it is a work in progress. Our target is to finalize it by the end of March, so after the kickoff meeting. Then we have also a data management plan to be done. This is also a deliverable, and it will describe how the research data will be handled during the project duration. So here we want to know what kind of data will be collected, processed, generated, and with which methodology. For the data management plan, the coordinator will also propose a template. There is one, in fact, available from the European Commission, because this is a deliverable which is quite classical. We will set it up. This will be also need to be validated by the PMB. And for that one, we will, of course, requested the input from the work package leader. So this, as a deliverable, must be submitted by M12. And then another plan will be the gender action plan, in which we will describe how the gender dimension will be included in the project and will be also monitored. So when I say in the project, is within the whole LIPARI program. So in this plan, we will definitely also need the input of each work package leader, because this is something that we need to monitor in each level of LIPARI. And this one must be also ready by month 12. So these are the plan that will be implemented. And now I would like to describe the tools. In fact, I would like to highlight in one tools, which is the Flex. And this is, in fact, the program internal platform I was referring to previously. So Flex is in fact a tool which was created by the LGI IT developer. There are several objectives in this Flex. Previously, we named it ECCP, which is quite the same as Flex, but we are continuously making some improvement and evolution on this tool. So this is also, in fact, a project deliverable, and it is already ready, but I wanted to present it to you all because you need to know, because I'm going to invite you to this platform. So several highlights on Flex. You can see an image on the first page of the tool. So as I said, this is a web platform developed by LGI in order to really integrate all the essential tools or features for collaboration. So the idea is really to simplify the exchange within the consortium, since there is a possibility to put several documents to be shared. This is something which can be easily deployed with an unlimited number of users. So this tool is GDPR compliant, and I'm going to show you the main features that are already ready now, but there are several modules that could be also deployed in the Flex. So the main module that I'm going to quickly describe to you is the fact that we can share documents. There is a workflow in which we will implement the quality assurance of LIP, and we can also communicate internally with Flex. So this is Flex will work upon invitation. So in fact, I have already invited the PMB member so far only. I wanted to take the opportunity of this kickoff meeting to give you some word about it, so that when you will receive the invitation, you won't be lost, since you will already have heard about it from me. So you will receive an invitation, and you will be requested to create an account. You see that there is 2 boxes. The first on the top is sign in, and the second one is create/activate account upon invitation. So when you will receive my invitation, you will need to add your email address in this box. So the first module is where we can share several documents. We have already prepared different folders for the LibRE. Yeah, we have organized it by a pillar plus work package. We have an admin file and so on. So you will have the opportunity to see it. And you can also create new folders, but I have already created some by default. You can see the activity per folder also in the grant, in the chart. When you will have the access to the flex, you will see that the grant agreement is easily accessible. The consortium agreement will be also uploaded there as soon as we have a finalized version of the CA. And yeah, we will also invite you all to have the final version of the deliverable here in the Flex. This will be the version that will be submitted to the EC portal. The second module is what we call the workflow. It is not 100% ready for LibRE, but it is being developed. The shared document part is ready. So in the workflow, you will see that all the deliverables of the program will be listed. We have a lot of deliverables, as it was highlighted by Bernardo yesterday. So we need to have a follow-up of this. So in this workflow, each deliverable will be allocated to a specific author and to the work package leader by default. You can monitor the deliverable progress in the workflow. And there is something specific, which is the quality process. So as I was saying, you will see that each deliverable will be listed with one author. So the person who is assigned as an author will always receive an email 1 month before the delivery date of his or her deliverable. So that is, you are aware of, oh, I have something to be ready by a month. And then once it is ready to be submitted, we will invite the author to upload the deliverable on the workflow. And then an email will be automatically sent to the work package leader so that the work package leader can check the technical content and the consistency of the document. And if the work package leader accepts the document, it will be sent directly to the coordinator, who will also do a check. And once everything is okay, it is also validated by the coordinator. It will be sent to the program management office. We'll do the final check, and who will also insert the quality page, which show the quality process. And then we can submit the deliverable on the EC portal. I describe that on each of the steps that it was validated by default, but there will be always 2 options, either validate or reject. So if you reject the deliverable, we go to the first stage again. So this is that. And in fact, in this chart, it is the same things that I was just mentioning, but in a different way. And I just want to insist on the fact that I am maybe giving you a lot of information like that. But as I said, this will be well described in the program, in the project quality plan. And then we have also the possibility to exchange, to communicate through the Flex platform. So the last module that we will use is the user directory. So this is how it looks like. I'm going to create some distribution lists because in fact, in order to communicate to the whole consortiums, since we have a lot of contacts, we rather prefer to use this platform. We can still see the slide? Yeah, okay. Yeah. We rather prefer to use this platform, which is GDPR compliant, instead of sending massive email. But this will be explained in the communication part of this presentation. So this is the first tool, which is quite ready. But I want to tell you that there will be other tools, of course, to be considered during the project. So we will check that with the work package leader, and we are aware of the fact that some people may encounter technical limitation, especially for, I don't know, for organizing meeting and so on. So this will be also taken into consideration, of course. So I'll give the floor to my colleagues Refilway for the consortium communication team.
Thank you, Nicolette. So yeah, I'll just take it from here. Am I audible? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so on the consortium communication, we agreed that there would be, because it's a big program, because LIBRI is such a big program with 83 of us, it would be good to have communication on different levels. So we decided that there would be communication to the whole consortium through the use of Flex, which is what Nicolette just spoke to. So Flex will be used once everything will be properly initialized. This will also allow us to avoid using a lot of emails, because there's so many of us. We anticipate that there'll be a lot of communication going through via emails. So we'd like to just decrease the number of emails that we send out to each other. And in principle, Flex requires institutional corporate email addresses. So we do encourage partners to use their work addresses to sign up to the system. And then there'll be communication to specific groups within the consortium. So that's for the project management board, who will obviously use Flex, and then the work package teams, which will be self-organized, and if necessary, Flex can be used as the platform for communication. And then with the emails, email alliances as entry points to the program. You can use, as partners, we can use contact@lib-re.eu to the coordinators if you want to get in touch with the coordinators, and then others will be created for the pillars. Next slide, please. Thank you. And then for the meetings, because there will be so many meetings that will be organized both at the, not both, but at the different levels of coordination and partnerships between the work packages. We anticipate that there'll be a lot of travel going on. So because LIBRI is a renewable energy program where we aim to reduce our carbon footprint, we'll be estimating and mitigating the carbon emissions directly, which attribute to travel. So I think because of COVID, we're doing very well in that regard. We won't be traveling anytime soon, so we will be having a lot of virtual meetings. But during the proposal phase, we drafted a key performance indicator that we would use to monitor the travel policy. So the methodology for this process would be to measure the estimate of footprint. So that will be ex ante, so providing a forecast of how much would be used in terms of the carbon footprint, and then we would review and adapt the travel policy to mitigate emissions, which is hybrid, which is the combination of virtual and physical meetings. And then we would also report on the post-traveling carbon footprint. Next slide, please. So in addition to that, whenever it is possible, we do encourage partners to make use of virtual meetings or conference calls, which are obviously preferred. Like I said, in the next couple of months or year or so, we won't be traveling. So meetings, in other instances where we do have physical meetings, we do encourage that that happen back to back. So for instance, if we have the annual general meetings with all the partners, we encourage that work package leaders organize their work package meetings in conjunction with the bigger meetings. This will allow less traveling between partners and engagements. And then physical meetings and events will take place alternatively in Europe and Africa. It is a bi-regional partnership, so we anticipate that, for instance, the general assemblies will take place 1 year in Africa and then the other year maybe in Europe. The countries would obviously be identified as we proceed. And then on the program meetings that we foresee happening, fortunately, we've started with our kickoff meeting. The next meeting, the other meetings that would take place would be the project management board meetings, which have already been meeting successfully, and these have proven to be quite useful in terms of keeping track of everything that's happening in each pillars. So these would happen every 2 months and monthly when necessary, and virtual. Again, carbon footprint being decreased there. And then the annual general assemblies would be virtual or physical during the general workshops. And then in addition to that, there'd be 3 general workshops anticipated to take place in month 18, month 48, and month 58. So the preparations in terms of those meetings would be communicated by LGI and DSI. And then individual Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 project meetings under the coordinator of the pillar managements are also expected. And then lastly, on the individual work package leader meetings under the condition of the work package leaders. So we do encourage work package teams to organize their own meetings over and above the meetings that will be scheduled at a coordination level. Next slide, please. And then on administration and finance, so this will speak to your reporting and financial management, contractual management, and specific trainings to come. So first of all, the reporting periods, we've decided that it would be good to have reporting periods divided into 18 months for the first 3 periods. And then the last reporting period would come after 9 months before the project concludes. So every 18 months, we request that partners prepare their technical and financial reports so that we don't miss the deadlines. You will receive like alerts before these are requested. These are like the deadlines from LGI and DSI. So please do anticipate that communication from us. The first reporting period would be for the 1st of October 2020 until the 31st of March 2022. So luckily, we don't have to report anything this year, but we do encourage partners to keep track of everything that they're doing. And then at the end of each reporting period, the coordinator must submit a periodic report containing the 2 reports, which is the technical and the financial. The technical report is more of a narrative report, and the financial report is obviously on the finances that have been incurred. you generally have like 60 days to submit the periodic report. Next slide, please. Thank you. And as I said just now, the technical report Part A is automatically generated by the system based on the information entered through Sigma. So if partners are not familiar with this process, we do encourage them to get in touch with us, but we will have guidelines that basically walk you through providing this report information. And then Part B is the narrative part that includes the explanation of the work carried out by the beneficiaries during the reporting period. This report must be uploaded as a PDF document. Next slide, please. Thanks. And then on the technical reporting, the explanation of the work carried out by the beneficiaries and overview of the progress. This will be by the coordinator and the work package leaders. And then obviously the update of the data management plan. And then we'll also require like a follow-up of recommendations and comments from previous reviews. So in some of these reports, you will find that there will be recommendations and reviews from coordinators, and we request partners to respond or provide feedback in how the recommendations can be taken up or address the comments that have been made in those reports. And then in terms of deviations, deviations, Annex 1 and Annex 2, if applicable. So this would be deviations of tasks and use of resources. These need to be reported, just to avoid us not reporting on tasks and not getting the reimbursement for the tasks that we have deviated on. And then the coordinator and the pillar manager will organize the compilation of the report, relying on the key role of the work package leader. So we really rely on work package leaders to work with us on this one to ensure that the reports are compiled in time and have the correct information. Next slide, please. Thank you. And then on financial reporting, the financial statements must be completed on the EC portal by each organization. Again, if you're not familiar with this process, we will provide guidelines in inputting all that information for the financial report. So the report on the costs occurred during the mentioned period. This includes your staff costs, other direct costs, subcontracting, if there is any. This is where the costs need to be reported on. And then any deviations that can be done in terms of person months can be reported at a certain level. Next slide, please. And then on financial management, again, we kindly request that you make sure that you spend, you report on the time spent on the project. There will be timesheets that will be sent. I think Bernardo yesterday shared a timesheet template, which we can use for LEAP-RE. So every single hour that you spend on the project, every single minute that you spend on the project, we encourage you to fill in the timesheet and make sure that your time is recorded so that it'll be easier when it comes to reporting your person months. We also encourage that you keep your your project financial supporting documents. That's your invoices. If you working with travel agents, make sure that you receive all the invoices from them and keep them in a file, have them ready for when the financial reporting period is open. And in case of any budget deviations or any other issues related to budgets, please inform your pillar manager, get in touch with them ahead of the reporting deadline. And then the pillar manager will communicate with the coordinator, who will then communicate with the EC project officer if necessary. And then on the deviation, it shall be indicated in the periodic report, but it is good to practice to inform the EC project officer before. So in this part, we're basically saying that any deviations obviously need to go into the periodic report. And this needs to be duly communicated to the project officer, especially if it is a cost that could most likely not be reimbursed. So we do need to inform the EC project officer ahead of time. And then while you report on your costs, do not claim costs that are not linked to the project. So if you're involved in another project, say LEAP for FNSSA, because that's what I'm familiar with, you can't be reporting it on LEAP RE. The two are not aligned. Yes, there are EU, AU projects for both of them, but you cannot report it here. It does not work like that. And then do not declare budgeted or estimated expenses. You must declare the reality with reliable supporting documentation. If your flight costs 6,000 euros, which I hope not, then you can't claim for 7,000 euros. You claim for what you spent. And then lastly, the coordinator will check the financial statement data before the submission to ensure no information is missing or inconsistent. So if there are any mistakes on your financial reporting, we will be able to pick it up, and we will inquire that you provide the correct information or any explanation that we do not make sense of. So yeah, I think I will hand over back to Nicolette for the next part on training. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks, Refilwe. Okay, so regarding the training, so now we have heard a lot of things regarding the financial management, the reporting, and so on. And please know that we are going to have, we will not leave you like that. We have planned some training in terms of management. I'm changing my slide. Okay, so in fact, in the Work Package 4, we have already foreseen to have some training. And we have already training in terms of management, because we are aware of the fact in a huge consortium with several partners, we may not be familiar with all of these aspects that were presented by Refilwe. So we will not, we will be helping you with that, and we propose to have some financial management training in order to anticipate any issue relating to this aspect of the project. In fact, at LGI, we already give some training, so this is something we are with, so we can definitely, that's the reason why we wanted also to propose that within LIPARI, given the project. And then we foresee also to have a flex training, so the tool that I have presented to you. And we could also imagine to have a short training or a guideline on the European Commission platform, because I was also checking the comment from Bernardo and the other colleagues. I have realized that the knowledge also on the EC portal is not the same for all of you guys. So we will definitely think about that and make you more familiar with this portal. So this is also something that we can imagine. This will be, I mean, we will do the management training very soon. This will be one of the first, I guess, even if the reporting is not today, but we really want to strengthen the consortium knowledge in this action. So this will be the first management training, but other will be proposed, and but it will be discussed also within the Work Package 4 actors, since it is where the training will take place. And then for the contractual and for the contractual management, I'm going to finish this presentation with some word about the grant agreement and the consortium agreement. So, as you may know, the grant agreement preparation phase was quite active, but at the end we managed to have a final GA, since we are all here for the kickoff meeting. As I showed you in one of my previous slides, the GA will be available on the Flex, is already in fact available on the Flex. We can also have it on the EC portal. So for those of you who don't know where it is, as I said, we will definitely be helping you to guide you through the EC portal. And also for the consortium agreement, this is still an ongoing action. I have to admit that making a consortium agreement with 83 partners is not easy at all. This takes a lot of effort and time. But right after the kickoff meeting, we will do our best to finalize it. When we launch the most recent version, some of you ask for additional time to check the consortium agreement, which I understand because the timeline given were always quite short, but and sorry about that. Maybe I put some pressure on you, but we really wanted to have this CA finalized as soon as possible because we want to have this legal aspect ready. But we are aware of all the personal constraints regarding some organization. So we have already set up some bilateral discussion with some of you just to ensure that this article or this aspect is okay for you, because we really want to have the next CA message, the final one with the guideline for the signature. So yeah, you will be receiving a general email regarding the consortium agreement very soon. And if you have highlighted some issue, you will also hear from me very soon in regard with what I call the bilateral exchanges. So I think this presentation, yes, this was the last slide. So I will give back the floor to Melissa for the Q&A. And I think Bernardo will be here as well. But Melissa, I'll let you take over. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Nicolette and Refilwe, for that very good overview of how the program will be managed. A few kind of key points that I started thinking about from this presentation was, first, that we have to keep in mind that there's this kind of personal responsibility, that we are responsible for certain actions or tasks. And so as organizations responsible for those, and as individuals responsible for those, it's up to us to be sure that we implement them in accordance with what we've promised, including along the time frame that we've promised. And for example, for deliverables, that we are not just relying on the systems, but also ourselves aware when deliverables are due, so that we are delivering on time. It's obvious that we also need to be really clear in our communications with one another, that this is a very complex program with a number of different actions, as has already been discussed many times, many deliverables. And so we just need to communicate with the task leaders, with the work package leaders, with the pillar leaders, with the coordination, so that everybody is on the same page, and that we are implementing our tasks and projects and work packages as expected. And we should also be proactive. If there are challenges or needs, that please do express those before they become a problem, so we can try to mitigate any challenges we might face. So those were just a few observations from my side. It would be nice, Bernardo, if you could enter the stage and we could address any questions that are coming up. So I'd remind you to please enter any questions you might have for Nicolette, Refilwe, or Bernardo. No, my mouth won't say it right now. Yes, into the chat,
so that I can
and we can then go into more detail. But Bernardo, I'd like to first give you the floor to respond to or to make any observations about the presentation we just saw, and to respond to any issues that you feel are important to highlight.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've already put quite a few comments in the chat. I mean, I think that it's, let's say, the complexity of reporting. So administratively, the difficulties, let's say, where we find the most errors, even amongst EU participants which are used to these programs, is in the calculation of the personnel costs. So I've put your link there to Article 6.D.A, which defines all the different ways you can calculate a personnel cost. And I very, very, very strongly advise you to guide those first-time participants that will have to declare these costs on how to do it properly, because that's the biggest source of errors. Okay. So yeah, be careful with that. Also, I see, on the use of a platform, of the common platform that you have for your internal management, I think that's fine. It looks very nice. Again, use it. You've got it. I'm sorry, I just have to, phone call I can't accept now. You've got nice software in place. You've got nice, wait, just 1 second, because, there we go. You've got nice software in place. You've got nice tools in place. Use them, okay? Because I'm one of the things that I see, I wouldn't say constantly, but frequently in projects, is that they go, all this nice management structure in place, all this nice procedures in place, and then you ask them typical questions. Okay, how much is your delay in your last deliverable? I don't know, but didn't you have a platform? Yeah, but nobody uses it. Okay, I mean, it's not common, but the thing is that for your project in particular, the complexity of managing it is not something I would like to face. Let's put it like that. But having managed similar sized initiatives, I have to tell you that you have to be very careful with that. You have to be very careful with change management. So you have to anticipate any and all possible delays, lack of communication, etc. I mean, projects, in my experience, very rarely fail because of technical issues. I mean, if the physics does not work, there is absolutely nothing that I can tell you. I'll tell you, you tried, it didn't work, but yeah, thermodynamics does not allow it. It's the second law, so you can't. Closed systems, entropy will grow. Yes, definitely. So you see what I mean? That there will always be a justification for a deviation that is technical in nature, and that's fine. If it wasn't risky, we would not finance it. But my experience is that things go wrong with the human interface. Things go wrong when people don't talk to each other. Things go wrong when people don't communicate problems on time. Things go wrong when people do their thing in their own corner. The issue with your project, I mean, the advantage and the problem with your project is it's very, very large, okay? You're covering a lot of ground. That gives you the distinct advantage of having access to an incredible range of expertise, okay, and having many, many competent people around the table. But it has the disadvantage that you have to be aware of what happens within your project, of things that are very distant from your activities, okay, because they can have an impact on you. And that's a problem that you have to manage. And I would say that all beneficiaries need to very much know by heart their work package, okay, and what it is that they're expected to do. But they also need to know what's going on in the rest of the project, even if it's distant, because it can have an impact on them. So, yeah, and that's a difficulty that you have. So those are, let's say, my main two comments. The other comment I have is that I will communicate almost exclusively with the coordinator, okay? Very, very few exceptions. I will do that through the participant portal, through the funding and tenders portal. So all my communications will be visible to all the consortium, okay? And since they are visible to all the consortium, I will assume that all the consortium has seen them. The excuse, but I didn't know that, does not apply, okay? So again, you can see them, check them every now and then just to see what's going on at the higher level of the project, or even if it's about what you're doing, because I will communicate almost exclusively through that means, Okay, so be aware of that. Other than that, I mean, you seem to have most is covered. I had some specific comments on the let's say evaluation process of the pillar one. So whether you would, but those are more related to pillar one more than overall project management. And about collaboration with the other projects, with the Green Deal projects. They are required by the call text to collaborate with you. What that collaboration is not defined, okay? And the projects themselves have been vague about it, okay? So there is, let's say, considerable flexibility in what you can do with them, okay? But you will have to meet with them, indeed. And one of the things that we should consider is once the negotiation process of the projects is finished, and they become projects and they start, that there is at least a workshop with Libre and all the funded projects from the Green Deal. That I think is a necessity, so that you can present to them what exactly it is that you're doing and where they would fit in that, and what it is that they're doing and how that does fit with you. Okay, so I guess we're package leader level participation from your side would be nice, and that'll try to have that from the other projects too when they get up and going. That will not happen until end of this year, more or less, I guess. So let me see. So it was February, October, December, something like that. They will not start until then, I calculate, if we're optimistic. So yeah, that is it. Again, on the detailed, I mean, on your quality management plans and your templates and your internal procedures, make them as heavy as you need, but no more. Okay, and make them useful for you. Okay, because I mean, your project has the distinct disadvantage of being very large, so you will need them, and you will need things like naming conventions for files, versioning, access rights to certain files and documents, things like that, which seem for other projects trivial, for your case are very critical. And I would say for whatever, for your reporting needs and for who gets to write what and authors of certain sections and so on and so forth, that you need to have nailed on. It's going to become very difficult to do document management for you because you have so many inputs to coordinate. So although it may seem a burden, try to be homogeneous in that. Otherwise, it's going to become very, very, very difficult. Okay. And yeah, I mean, that's it's my pieces of advice. I mean, you need to be extremely, extremely aware of what your work is and whose work you depend on. So who depends on your work, what your work is, and whose work you depend on. That has to be crystal clear, crystal clear. And those are the answers that you need answering, I would say, within the next month. Okay. And and I'm rather concerned that Pillar 1 still hasn't got things up to speed, but of course, knowing the dependencies with the rest of the pillars is going to be difficult before they organize themselves. So I understand that that can lead to a delay, but don't let it linger on for later than end of this month or the next one. Huh?
Thank you for that. That feedback, Bernardo. I think you've brought out a lot of the important points that I also noticed, and especially with this issue of the interdependencies, that this was highlighted quite a bit yesterday, that there are a lot of interactions between the different work packages, and therefore we have to know what's going on across the program so that we can keep those in place and ensure that we're all going in the same direction. There's a lot of comments here in the questions about the personnel costs. So again, the timesheets have been sent by Bernardo, I think yesterday, but if I've understood colleagues from LGI and DSI correctly, this will also be sent to everyone in a little bit more formalized manner, and it will be part of the financial training that's foreseen very soon. I also wanted to bring up the question from Daniela, about the organization of single work packages in terms of their periodic meetings, for example, monthly or some other time frame. Do these work packages have to refer to the pillar coordinators guidelines, or can they set up their own effective internal work package schedules? Nicolette or Refilou, I'd like you to respond to this question, please.
Yeah. Okay, so for this question, I would say that the work package leader should organize the work package meetings with the need of the activity of the work package. So I think they are in the right position to know when they will need to have meetings. But as we said, we need to understand what is going on the project. So each pillar leader should be aware of the frequency of the meeting. Maybe they would like to join sometimes. So I think a good communication among the pillar activity should be set in place. So for instance, if Work Package 9 decide to have meetings monthly, it is their choice, but it would be good if they inform the pillar leader so that Emanuela and Anne can join the meeting whenever it's necessary. And also, as mentioned yesterday, if it is needed, I think Bernardo said that he could also be there, but the communication should be channeled by LGI and DSI. So please do not forget that. And also, as a coordinator, we also want to know what is going on. I have already participated in several Pillar 1 and 2 meetings, and we will continue to do that. So please organize your meeting and let us know. And if there is a specific need for the EC representation, just let me know, and I will see with Bernardo if he will be available to join. In fact, we had a meeting with Work Package 9 and Bernardo last Friday, I think, and he kindly accepted to join. So I'm pretty sure he would do it again if necessary and if he's available.
Exactly. I mean, the point is that the project is large enough that I will not be. I mean, typically I don't attend these meetings, okay? Give a work package level meetings on any project that I manage. But given that the peculiarities of this project, let's say I would attend overall pillar management meetings, maybe if there's a very big issue to discuss, I may be attending. I mean, the thing is that I do have a limited amount of time to devote to you guys, and I want to be as effective as possible. So yeah, there you go. I mean, but again, now that you're setting up the program, I'm all in for that. I mean, any problems that we can correct at the beginning is time well spent for me. So in that sense, I would say that, for example, I mean, for the particular issues of incorporating the new partners, I intervened. And for example, for Pillar 1, if you need any particular guidance on coordination or anything, I would also be happy to help. Yeah, so there you go.
Thank you, Bernardo.
But normally, let's say, the interaction is with the coordinator. Nicolette will relay to me your issues, and the reason for that is that any written interaction leaves a trace, and I can help you. I can make official any changes that you need as of the moment I have a written request. Okay, and no earlier than that. So. And it's a way to keep manageable the flow of information. Okay, so you have 83 plus institutions participating. I can't interact one-on-one with them. That's impossible. That's simply not viable. And because I have another 200 and something to interact with, I can only interact at let's say coordinator level and still give you meaningful feedback on time. So the process is you interact with the coordinator and she interacts with me. Unless there is a very, very well justified reason. I mean, you want to complain about Nicolette. That you can do, okay? Or there is something that has confidentiality issues, or something that has, I mean, that type of thing. You can contact me directly, but it's very, very exceptional. It should not. I mean, again, it has to be because of really important issues and things that are very, very, very exceptional. I mean, as I said, I mean, typically it's complaints about the coordinator or audits, so commission audits, since that is confidential information even for the coordinator. If you're the subject of a commission audit, then maybe you can send me a little message. But otherwise, please, 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 always through the coordinator. Okay, and always when you know of the problem. Okay, if you let things fester, I will not be able to help you. Okay, I can only help you effectively if you tell me of your problem the moment you have it. Okay, I mean, it will be easier if you have the problem and a potential solution, so you may have a little time to think about it. But the word here is a little time, okay? Because I let's say this time delay severely restricts what I can do for you, okay? So always, always, please tell me of your issues whenever it is that you know of them. And I've already told Nicolette, do it through the portal. If I don't reply to the portal, Nicolette can send me an email message. And if I don't reply to the email message, she can phone me. So I didn't reply to your message is not an excuse not to have informed me. Okay. So if you think that your issue requires to have a reply or a response from me, I've already told you that. Don't hesitate to pick up the phone. Okay. But follow the chain, because that way there's always a trace. I mean, until you tell me, the problem is yours. From the moment you tell me, the problem is ours. It's easy as that. Okay.
Thank you, Bernardo, for that. I think this is now very clear for everyone. And if there are questions on how this works, then you can put them in the chat, and Bernardo will respond there if there are any further need for clarification. But I feel that this was a very clear statement, and I'm sure this is all going to just go great. Thank you.
With your project size, there will be hiccups. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Okay, so that's not in question. But you need to tell me early, tell me first, and tell Nicolette. She will tell me.
Clear communications with everyone involved, work package leaders as well, is very important, so we know what's going on. The sooner we know, the better, so that we can solve these challenges that we're going to face. Absolutely. Excellent. Well, I would like to move us forward in our agenda. So I would like to thank Bernardo, Nicolette, and Refilwe for this program management section of the agenda. And now we will move to the communication strategy. We're running slightly behind. I apologize, but I thought that this was an important aspect of the day. So I wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about the program management issues. But now I'd like to invite Refilwe Mshigo from DSI to please tell us about the communication strategy of LEAP RE.
Thank you, Melissa. So I'll be co-presenting, I think, with Karine. I don't know if she's on. Maybe Nicolette can just...
I'm here, but I will leave the floor to Karine.
All right. So as she settles, I will.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kareem. So I'll be presenting on the actual strategy, and Kareem will provide in-depth information on how, or rather the channels that we'll be using and the key messages. Should I project, or Kareem, your project?
I can do it if you want.
Yes, please. Thank you. I hope everyone can see it. Yeah, so I'll be presenting the communication strategy, which was drafted jointly by DSI and LGI. The communication strategy is part of work package 4, but we thought because communication is such an interesting field of work, we thought we could present this alone. So yeah, the strategy was drafted both by LGI and DSI. Our colleagues from the communications team, from the science communications team, assisted us with this strategy. So I'll go straight into the introduction. Next slide, please. Thank you. So yeah, the communication strategy is basically, it outlines the communication activities which will focus on like online communication. We've developed a website that is already up. We'll establish social media presence and creating materials suitable for online communication, such as videos, interactive infographics, and so forth. And then we also thought it would be good to have print materials that are readily available for workshops, the ones that we'll be having physically. And these will also be developed for specific purposes as workshops are organized. And then the DSI will implement the communications activities together with LGI Consulting, and will be supported by AESG from Kenya, as they are also a contributor in the communications activities. And then the activities may evolve if necessary. So just because the strategy exists and is it's there as a document doesn't mean that we cannot alter some of the communications requests that we will be receiving from partners. So the main objective is to maximize the impact of the project and boost awareness on the results and milestones to be accomplished during the project's term. Outputs should be communicated to a broad network of stakeholders beyond the AU-EU landscape. So just because we are existing within the Africa-EU partnership does not mean that our communication strategy should be limited just to Africa-EU stakeholders. We do envisage that we will be communicating with other stakeholders outside of the AU-EU partnership, such as your multilateral organizations and other science entities outside of AU-EU. Next slide, please. So as I said, that program communication is part of task 4.4 in work package 4, led by UH and AESG, that's Finland and Kenya. And yeah, the tasks that have been outlined in that, well, or rather the activities that have been outlined in that task include LIBRI communications and awareness raising strategy. So we actually already have written the strategy. It's just a matter of finalizing it and sharing it with everyone. And then the second activity is coordinating communication activities in Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 projects. So we will be working very closely with projects that have been funded under Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 to ensure that their project outputs are communicated to the wider network out there. And then the third activity is communication materials. As I said, we will be designing and publishing communication materials for print and web. So this includes your postcards, banners, and so forth. But yeah, this goes beyond just online. We will be having hard copies of branded material for LIBRI. Next slide, please. So the communication objectives, we've identified a few objectives that could basically guide the communication strategy. So firstly is to widely promote and ensure the visibility of the project. I always try to refer LEAPRE as a program rather than a project, because then we sound like a project that funds other projects, which just sounds weird. But yeah, whichever way you guys would have it. So we want to ensure the visibility of the program and its associated actions at diverse levels. So that's locally, nationally, regionally, and internationally. And also we rely on partners, all 83 institutions, to assist in raising awareness of LEAPRE's outputs. So just because an article is written on LEAPRE on what happened in work package, say 14, does not mean you cannot also retweet and share the article in your respective networks. So we do encourage our partners to assist in raising the visibility of the project. And then it was also to disseminate the knowledge and results achieved in the project to stakeholders and key communication targets. We also aim to widely highlight the renewable energy solutions developed under the LEAPRE Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 projects. So all the solutions that are established under Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 projects, we do encourage that you share these with us, with the communications team, so we can share the information with other stakeholders. And then we also intend to foster collaboration and achieve synergies with other AUE projects, networks, stakeholders, and experts in the field of renewable energy, and also to raise awareness and inform and educate citizens and policymakers about LEAPRE. So in all our activities, we also try to ensure that our communication reaches policymakers. So for instance, the high-level policy dialogue bureau members are indeed one of the stakeholders that we aim to connect with. They will be key in ensuring that they communicate some of the outcomes from the LEAPRE with other high-level members of the AU-EU partnership. And then we also want to profile Africa and Europe's research infrastructures and cohort of scientists in renewable energy. And lastly, to highlight Africa and Europe's efforts to transition to a sustainable and green economy. Next slide, please. And then on the stakeholders and target audience, we do have a set, next slide, please. Thank you. We do have a set number of stakeholders that we would like to reach in our message on LEAPRE activities. So this includes your policymakers and influencers. If you go on Twitter, you'll find out that there are influencers for like clothes and stuff. We wish to have like influencers for LEAPRE. So if you think that you could be an influencer for renewable energy under LEAPRE, please let us know. But yeah, we want to connect with like influencers who are concerned with renewable energy sources at national and regional level, both in Africa and Europe. So as I said before, this includes the high-level policy dialogue bureau and the climate change and sustainable energy working group. We want to connect with entrepreneurs and industrial actors at national and regional level, and as well as academics, donor agencies, foundations, and NGOs, including international agencies with an interest in RES. And then we'd also like to connect with local communities where these projects will be tested or trialed, just to ensure that communities are aware of what is happening. So we shouldn't be just going to a community and testing these solutions, but just to provide them with more information of what LEAPRE is all about and what we aim to do in testing these technologies in those communities, so that they are also aware of what's happening. And then we'd also like to connect with obviously the general public and citizens in case they might have some interest and might not be in the know of what LEAPRE is doing. So we would like to extend our communication activities to other citizens outside of the renewable energy space and outside of the Africa EU space. And lastly, local and international science journalists. There are many science newspapers or science magazines out there that we would like to have some published Libri articles. So if you have a knack for writing science articles, please do write some on your outputs, and we will try our best in ensuring that these reach these the science magazines and online newsletters. So I will hand over to Karine, who will present the rest of the communication strategy. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Refilwe. So we move on to the key messages to be
Karine, I don't know if it's me, but I've at least lost the audio.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, so we had a mic problem. What I was saying was that we have, as Refilwe mentioned, many targets in terms of communications. We have many things to disseminate, results from all of the pillars and work packages. And we have tried to form a set of key messages that will form the base of Libri's communication. But of course, it will have to be further refined, tailored to the specific targets to who we will be talking to. So those key messages are the following. First. The first one is that Libri is committed to supporting research and innovation to develop renewable energy production in Africa. So that's step one. Second, it's stressing the fact that Libri is a partnership between Europe and Africa, as well as a partnership between different sectors. It's not just about geography or about countries working together. It's also about bringing together academics, public sector, institution, private companies. The rationale behind this is that working together is the key for a sustainable future. So in Libri, we try to connect all those actors, and that is something we want to communicate about. Third, Libri is committed to supporting the transition to renewable energy. So that's, again, really general, but that's one of the key messages to share within this project, to really highlight the work that we do to develop renewable energy production, to develop uses of this energy. And finally, last message will be that Africa and Europe's renewable energy strategy is critical to ensure sustainable development of both continents, that it's crucial, again, to work together, and it's crucial to have a common strategy for that. So those are the key messages that we have developed, and again, they will be further tailored to specific audiences. We also would like to present to you the channels of communication that we will be using in this program. First of all, branding. So as you know, there is already a Libri logo that is based on the previous pre-Libri logo. For those who were already part of pre-Libri, we have chosen to stick with a similar visual identity, so that we could build on the work that had already been done in terms of communication with pre-Libri. So the logo is featuring both maps of Africa and Europe. And the colors we have chosen are colors that are generally used for sustainable development projects and energy-related projects. A few things to have in mind regarding branding is that all documents that we will produce during the project, all materials, and that was said previously by many of the speakers, and it was notably said again by Bernardo, I think yesterday, is that we have to acknowledge EU funding everywhere with the EU emblem and acknowledgement. It's required. So you can see there, and this will be again written in the communication strategy, and we will send you some guidelines to communicate on the project, and that will be an important thing to keep in mind throughout the project for all your communications and documents. So we have drafted templates, notably a presentation template that we've been using for the past 2 days. So it's easy to use, please use it. If you have specific needs, just let us know. We also have created a Word template for documents, so that will be shared with you also. We will build a standard presentation of LeapRE, so that you can just use it if you need to present it to partners, clients, whoever you need to present the program to. We will provide a standard presentation that you will be able to adapt to be. It's going to be possible to translate it in several languages. So once it's done, please use it, and we will create other materials such as flyers, banners. Some will be print materials to be used during, let's say, events once we can finally meet in person. Others can be used, will be able to be used online. And finally, the LeapRE logo exists in 3 formats. One with a tagline explaining what the LeapRE acronym means, so long-term joint EU-AU research and innovation partnership on renewable energy. But if we don't want to use this tagline, we can do without. So the logo is in a long shape, but we also have a vertical shape that is sometimes more practical to use. You are probably already familiar with the LeapRE website. So I would like to show it to you. I feel we made a little video of it, so let's hope it works. Otherwise, you will be only able to see the homepage. I do encourage you to visit it. Yeah, I do encourage you to visit the website. Do let us know if you have any comments about it, suggestions. For instance, look at your logo. Is it the right one? Do you need us to update it, for instance? If you have article ideas, let us know. Yeah, anything you want to share about it is fine and will help us improve. We have also a presence on social media. So first a Twitter account that was already existing under pre-LeapRE, and that was adapted and turned into LeapRE. So please follow the LeapRE account on Twitter, retweet, tweet and tag us in your tweets. Do feel free really to use social media as well to promote the project. Always tag LeapRE so that we know what you're up to and we can share your updates. We also have a LinkedIn account. I will share the links once I'm finished with the presentation. So this one was created not such a long time ago, maybe a month. So it's under development. We already have some followers. Do follow it as well. It's an important communication channel for us to share our key messages to those parts of our audience that are professionals. So you can follow us on both those platforms, and we are also foreseeing to create a YouTube account in the coming weeks or month, where all the videos related to LeapRE will be shared. Please note that there will also be newsletters from the project to keep you updated on a regular basis on what's going on and related information. We will shortly be able to share with you a link on which you can register to the newsletter. So once it is out, please register. We will also have media activities trying to build partnerships with journalists in both Africa and Europe from very local level to very global. So we will do so by releasing press releases from time to time when a specific milestone is achieved, when we have news that we really need to communicate on. We will have, those media partnerships are really important to make sure that the project is communicated about, that people know about it, that we can reach a broader audience than just the stakeholders of the project or very specialized people. So that is it for the media activities and the channels. Again, what we will need from you is really to participate. If we want the communication of the program to be a success, we will need each and every one of you to really be committed to communication. I know this is not everyone's favorite thing to do, maybe not everyone's area of expertise. But please do feel free to send us information, and actually do send us information. Do involve your communications department. You might be working in an organization where you have nothing to do with communication, yet there are people working in communication departments within your organizations. Involve them, loop them in, let them know that there is information to share. Do tell them that they can get in touch with us to share information. This is super important. We really encourage you to share anything that you think is newsworthy, so that we can write articles for the website, so that we can share updates on social media. Anything that you think could be interesting, just share it. And if we have too much content, or if it's not that relevant at the time, we will manage and we will let you know, maybe share some guidelines, but really do send us content. Chances are it will be relevant and interesting. We really will need you to let us know whether it's something you've achieved for the project, an event you're organizing. Just to let us know. We have written down our contact details. Just to let you know, so my name is Karine, I work for LGI. I will be managing daily the website and social media, so you can send me any type of content you want. Tiniko from DSI and Refilway, who just presented the first part, are also involved in communication. You can totally reach out to them on those matters, and we will liaise with each other. So if you just send information to one of us, we will share it with the others. Kibibi and Melissa are work package leaders for both the University of Helsinki and for AESG. So you can loop them in, you can send them information, and they'll make it flow towards us if we need to. And finally, we will monitor communication outputs, numbers, and we will report on those numbers. So we will let you know about the results. But again, this is something collective. So we need you to make it a success. Thank you. And please feel free to ask any questions.
Thank you, Refilway and Karine, for explaining the very important communications task that we have ahead of us for this program. I haven't seen any questions in the chat, but there have been comments. I included the link for the LeapRE Twitter, so as was mentioned earlier, go ahead and follow that and retweet what we've been updating already about this kickoff meeting. For the sake of time, I would suggest that we move to the next section of the agenda, and if there are questions that come up about the communications, then we can certainly answer those during the concluding section. So if I'm not mistaken, then Philippe Shield will come on the stage to tell a little bit about the working groups. So Philippe, if you could join us on stage, please.
Thank you, Melissa. I hope that you are all seeing me and hearing me. I'm going to give you a bit of a feedback about how the working relationship will be with the CCSE working group. but also more in general. And I think I will start with sort of the general to come back a bit of what Bernardo was saying in terms of communication. In fact, it works also for me. So when I will look to communicate with you as a project, I will go through Bernardo, even asking me, can I contact him, get them directly, and then I will put him in copy. So, so in a sense, if in the context of the CCSE working group or all the sort of issues you want to contact me as a project, yes, you can, but also put Bernardo in copy so he's aware of something is happening. So that's sort of one way of flow of information. On the CCSE groups, as a project and I see that you will be working both as sort of participating in workshop that the expert working group will be organizing to bring your expertise, but also at a higher level, as your project has been initiated through the LHPD, the working group at a higher level. So when they will organize events, I will likely, contact you and possibly the other projects to have representation and presentation of your projects. And that sort of raise a point about sort of the references. I think it's in your communication from your project, the LHPD and the CCSE partnership needs to be a reference, not all the time, but enough so that people are aware that this kind of project got initiated through this sort of partnership and the dialogues that we have between the EU and the AU. It is important because it's sort of was raised in the meeting we had in Addis in 2019. I think the last time we had a physical meeting. And I think, Melissa, you were at the meeting in Addis. And one of the other partnership, the Food, Nutrition and Sustainable Agriculture Partnership, in fact, had made a survey of all the projects they were financing. And the project were absolutely not aware of this high-level dialogue. And the reason that they got a project was through that. So, and the LHPD sort of made a comment that of, they also have to show their how they are successful. So in a bit of, if you tell people that this project was because of the dialogue, then all the ministers and high officials working in these dialogues can go back to their own ministers and government and say, look, it is working, we have something. So I think it's a bit of a bonus from both sides. So that sort of okay, I see your question. Well, I had a very short presentation at the beginning of the working group, but this is something that I'll come back later also. What sort of the project benefit, in fact, is one of the experts in the working group is François Moiser. So in a sense, you have a direct contact with the expert working group through him. And in fact, I had asked him beginning of this year to have a presentation to the expert working group of LIPRE. So this is the what I'd like to mention quickly on the CCSE. The other point I like, in fact, in terms of communication, I like the comment made earlier that your project is not a project, it's a program. And I think it would be good to really refer it as a program. Originally, that's what I put forward in my discussion with everybody, that we were discussing a program and not a project, because it, in terms of image, when you speak about projects, you speak about something which is short, in both stuff in scope, but also in duration. A project finish. When you start speaking about program, you have also the idea behind a program that there is something that will continue. It's not a one shot. So I think it's also, and the scope of what you're doing is more fitting a program than really a specific project. And to stay on the communication will be very important even for me. So I think if you have newsletters or information of something important, it's to communicate to Bernardo, obviously, but also to me, because then I can also distribute the information within the commission and within the networks that I have. So this is something. If I could just click on following your Twitter account, so I will start to retweet some of your emails, some of your tweets. And one, for example, of important communication would be like, and François has mentioned, a quick flash info about the results of your first deadline of your call in Pillar 1. It doesn't need to be a lot, but just, flash info that we can tell people what happened. What I like to mention now is, because yesterday you were mentioning about clustering of projects. I think it's important. There was quite a few comments in the chat on this. What we have, I think, is coordinating and clustering projects which are not within within LIPRE. I think is important. We already have the Green Deal Call projects that will be starting at the end of this year. On that topic, I had put specifically a sentence referring to LIPRE. But it also will cover of the Horizon Europe topics that have introduced for the first work programs, where I didn't put a sentence for LIPRE because the project was sort of not funded or closed at the time. But I made a reference to the CCSE working group. So that's why I meant about working with the CCSE working group. It's the clustering of projects, and there will be more projects. And in terms of future projects, now I'm making a bit of an advertisement in the future coming calls. I do advise members of the consortium when it will be launched to look at what topic we have put forward, not only Africa topic, but our common topic. Because you will see from even the project you have in Pillar 2, we have a very similar sort of scopes that we are also looking at to develop. So I think this is something that you should not forget, that you can use also creating new projects by taking opportunities of the calls that we are opening. So this is something to keep in mind. And in terms of now me helping you, I know that you are going to organize summer school, winter school. So, I may be able to participate if the time is right to, give more information about that famous high policy dialogue and the CCSE working group, or the activities that we are doing with Africa, or even only with Europe. And I think this is an opportunity that you can have. Even asking maybe the colleagues from the EUC participating in your schools, and also in terms of feedback and possible participation, it's it's on the long term. So it's more Pillar 3 activities is when you will be looking at the long term activities, and if you like to discuss with me some of your options, I'm ready to participate in such meetings. So this is stuff. This is what I see. Otherwise, my final word is, I was yesterday morning excited of having the kickoff meeting now I'm even more enthusiastic and have a higher expectation. So I think the threshold now has go up. So you have to meet that threshold now, so it's more stress on you. But I'm having a lot of expectation of what you are doing. I think it's both in terms of because it was the first time for me yesterday to have a more better understanding of what Pillar 2 project are doing. And I'm very excited. So that's my sort of physics and engineering part of would like to see more concrete things happening. So that's sort of my few words that I like to say. So I'm trying to look at the chat if there is something.
Yeah, maybe, Philippe, I can raise some of the questions there. But
Okay.
As a starting point, I think it's good to remind people about what the HLPD and the CCSE working group are. And maybe I'll just shortly introduce it and then you can add to it. So the EU has a policy dialogue process with the African Union on science, technology, and innovation, which is called the High-Level Policy Dialogue on Science, Technology, and Innovation. And this is the kind of framework between which the EU and the AU are able to discuss joint priorities, for example, in research funding to take place. As part of the High-Level Policy Dialogue, or the HLPD, three partnerships have been established to kind of really focus the cooperation and the priorities. So the first is in food and nutrition security and sustainable agriculture. The second is in climate change and sustainable energy. So that's the CCSE. And the third is in innovation. If I'm missing one, then Philippe, you can surely remind me. This policy dialogue meets on a somewhat regular basis through senior officials meetings, but there is a kind of a bureau, it's called the Bureau of the HLPD, which meets more regularly to kind of direct the activities. And one of the things that the Bureau and then the senior officials confirmed would be important for this policy dialogue and for the partnerships is that working groups would be established to really have oversight over the implementation of the partnerships and specifically the roadmaps, which have also been developed as part of these partnerships. So Philippe is co-coordinator for the Climate Change and Sustainable Energy Working Group. And if I'm not mistaken, there are two, isn't it, under the CCSE partnership?
Yes, the other co-chair, in fact, is a colleague from the AUC. Sorry, I won't say a name because I'm afraid of misspelling her name. But she was, in fact, in the agenda of LIPRE in the opening session in the origin, and she could not make it this time. But I think, yes, I think it's a brief description. I think he's right. What sort of should get online soon is the website for this dialogue. It has been a long time, and we hope that it will get be soon. So we'll have more information of both sort of the dialogue and what the activities. So in fact, I will be using also this specific website to forward information. And besides that of the dialogue of senior official, last year was the first time we had a ministerial meeting, and the ministerial meeting agree and gave even more political support of the activities that we were doing. But for us, this is what I was mentioning before. At that level, even of the senior officials and the ministerial, we have to show that we are delivering. And the only way we can see is that the work that we are doing is being spread about. So that is why I was mentioning that this is an aspect of remembering.
I think it's really important that we all kind of understand this context in which we're working, that the LEAP-RE program is one of the flagship initiatives of this CCSE partnership. And so the projects that are being undertaken under Pillar 2, as well as the projects under Pillar 1, are all part of this umbrella of the CCSE partnership. And as has been mentioned already by Philippe, and Bernardo, there are a number of projects which are also being financed by Horizon 2020, and there will be future projects to be financed under Horizon Europe that also fall under the umbrella, and that's why the clustering kind of comes into this, so that there is a sense of community between us who are implementing this partnership. So this clustering activity is quite important. Maybe Philippe, you could reflect a little bit on how you expect this project to relate to the CCSE working group. What kinds of information would you be interested in receiving from us?
For me, it's about in fact, you lesson learn, both in terms of implementation. In fact, it could be both sort of technical, the issues that you are facing. So in a sense, it's of there I would say that's quite of strong and benefit from pillar 1 outcome will be also interesting. Because it's is probably the problems they are facing, and even the long-term planning that they have is to see maybe they say, okay, we need that, maybe we could repeat this kind of projects also. So the feedback is to feed with the working group what are the points and the issue that we can then try to implement the roadmap that we have, which is very broad. It's sort of it's not something specific, it's renewable energy. It covers all renewable energy and whatever you do with renewable energy. So it's very, in that sense, it's very is simple. It's very detailed because the people who wrote the roadmap went into a lot of details, but globally this is a summary. But for example, if there is an hunger maybe for funding agency to continue doing joint calls, then we maybe also discuss sort of maybe, okay, what we can do maybe to help them to continue doing those joint calls, part of it. So this is something that and the problems they were facing and all this issues. So it's to see how we are doing. I think it's what sort of I did show with LIPRE, in fact, is the current instrument that we have under our research framework program are very powerful. And if you do not hesitate to push them to the limit, you can do a lot of things, like using a research and innovation type projects to do program implementation.
The last question that I think is important to raise before we go to the concluding session, and if you could be brief since we're running behind. Stefan from Work Package 5, co-leader, raised the issue of this kind of thinking of the long term. If we would like to develop and ensure the sustainability of the LEAP RE partnership and see this maybe transform into something a little bit more long-term. What is the best way to bring this to the CCS working group and potentially further into the HLPD?
Well, it's a very broad question. I think this is why I was suggesting that sort of maybe to involve people, maybe even people or experts in the working group, even if they are technical experts, they are not, let's say, program managers, where we have that. Because I think in your discussion for the long term, at one point, is to see what would be the funding agencies that will be involved in sustaining your partnership. And this is sort of where I think at that stage, that's you will get a link with the CCA working and possibly to the bureau meeting. And I think this is a living exercise, and in a sense, this is why I was mentioning before again to participate in some of your meeting and discussion when you have something maybe concrete or even brainstorming, because then we can expand it and we can see, and then I can raise the point to bureau meeting to have it a point. It's in a sense, when I created and we're discussing the topic for LIPRE, it was raised up to the bureau meeting, because I had to raise the issue that to tell the bureau members that, guys, we will only pay 50% of the funding. So, you have to find. So I was asking member states at that stage to start looking and contributing. So this is where I see when on the long term, at one point we will have to address and have a discussion, possibly first with the bureau meeting and maybe addressing it in a larger stuff environment.
Philippe, I think that's a very clear a way that we can interact with the CCSE working group, and I'm sure we're going to have many interventions or interactions together, and we'll invite the working group members to participate in our meetings, as it's obviously very relevant and very important for us for them to be aware of what we're doing in LEAP RE. If you don't have anything else, I think I will ask you to leave. Thank you so much, Philippe, for this. It was very useful. So I'll ask you to leave the stage, and we'll invite back Tiniko and Nicolette, I assume, who will do the concluding remarks for the session. For the whole kickoff meeting, not just the session.
Hello, here I am. Okay. So, as a closing,
good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. So, Tiniko, please go ahead, and I'll do it after.
Okay. Yes, I think more than anything, we'd really just would like to thank everyone for participating in this kick-off meeting. It has been a marathon meeting, with us having kicked off yesterday. We'd also particularly like to extend a word of gratitude to our colleagues at the European Commission, who have been with us on both days of this kickoff meeting, ready to answer questions and to provide clarity on all the issues that have cropped up during our discussions. So thank you for that, as well as the entire LEAP-RE team, who it was really all hands on the deck. So thank you to everyone, those who moderated and those who presented and basically contributed towards the success of the meeting. And also maybe just to highlight from a personal perspective, just some of the key messages which have cropped up over the past 2 days. I think what is quite clear, and even just listening to the concluding remarks from Philippe, what is quite clear about this project is that it is a unique project that presents unique opportunities that could result in unique solutions. And I'd also like to emphasize, particularly given that we are we are representing the African participants, that these unique solutions are very important for Africa's unique context. And I think we cannot leverage from all of these opportunities and all of these solutions unless we have 3 key principles, which are trust, commitment, and sustainability. And these are elements which also cropped up during the opening session that we had yesterday. So I would, with those few words, I would like to thank everyone for participating. Over to you, Nicolette.
Thank you, Tiniko. You're such a great speaker, as always. I don't have so many things to add, because I really think that Tiniko highlighted several things. I feel like a LIPRE program is quite challenging, but I strongly believe that all of us can do it all together. We are such a huge team, and I really am so excited of this kickoff. Now we have officially launched the LeapRE activity, and I encourage you all to communicate, to just to participate. And as we said, please, if you have anything, any issue, please do contact us. I also want really to emphasize on the thanks that I want to share. I really want to thank all the LeapRE team, especially the PMB members, the work package leader who were here and who presented their activities. And I also want to stress on a very warm thanks to Bernardo and Philippe Schild, who took these 2 days to join us. So, and also you, all the consortium member, for staying connected during this virtual kickoff meeting. I have to admit that it is not easy to have a virtual event. So I hope you didn't encounter too many issues. And finally, I also wish to thank Hugo from Resembly, who was always here to support us. So thank you, and over to you, Melissa.
On behalf of all the participants, I want to also add my thanks to those mentioned. So Nicolette, Karine, the LGI team, thank you so much for organizing this. We know it's been a ton of work, and we really appreciate how well this has gone. To Nico and Refilwe and the DSI team, thank you for all of your hard work to organize this. We look forward to really good cooperation between all of us now and in the future. Before we go, Nicolette, was there another form to launch?
Yes, we are going to launch it now with Karine. Le formulaire.
So we have one more form or feedback form that we will launch now, where you can interact with us before you log off. And hey, we're only 15 minutes late. That's not too bad. So once that's launched, it's being launched now. So we would kindly ask you to fill out the participant form, which will help us to understand how this kickoff meeting went. This is only for us, and the personal data is managed according to the principles that we have in our data management plan. And it's not going to be forwarded to third parties. So please take the time to answer this, so we might organize the future virtual meetings better. We always like to have feedback, so please fill this out now. It should be quite easy if you just push the answer button and go ahead. I'll do it at the same time. I did it. It took me 2 minutes, not even. So it's very fast. And Nicolette, are people able to continue to complete the form if we close this meeting? Will it remain up?
This I don't know, Melissa. Let me just check with Hugo.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We are going to ask him. So while we are asking, okay, so we can conclude. They will be able to continue to reply to the form even if we close the meeting.
Wonderful. So everyone, please, you are kindly requested to complete the form, so we know who was here and know a little bit more about each of you as a participants. We really thank you for your participation during these 2 days, and wishing you a good remainder of the day and week, and we will be in touch very soon. Thank you all. Bye-bye.